Welcome to an in-depth analysis of the Bangar Assembly constituency. This presentation examines the electoral dynamics, political analysis, and demographic factors that will shape the 2026 Assembly election in this crucial South Bengal constituency. Bangar represents a fascinating case study of Muslim political assertion in West Bengal, where the Indian Secular Front achieved a historic breakthrough in 2021, defeating the ruling Trinamool Congress. As we approach the 2026 election, the constituency faces a three-way contest between the incumbent ISF, the resurgent Trinamool Congress, and the Bharatiya Janata Party. This analysis will explore the voting patterns, candidate profiles, economic grievances, and state-level narratives that will determine the outcome. Join us as we unpack the political complexities of Bangar and understand why this small constituency has become the epicenter of a new political experiment in West Bengal. Let's begin with the geographic and demographic foundation of Bangar. Located in South 24 Parganas district in South Bengal, Bangar is a deltaic region characterized by agricultural and piscicultural livelihoods. The constituency covers an area of approximately 295 square kilometers and is part of the Jadavpur-Lok Sabha segment. What makes Bangar politically significant is its demographic composition. The constituency is 65.9% Muslim, 34% Hindu, and less than 1% other communities. This Muslim majority status is crucial to understanding electoral dynamics here. The population is approximately 1.2 million, with a literacy rate of 76%, slightly below the West Bengal average. The constituency is predominantly rural, with agriculture and fish farming forming the backbone of the local economy. The presence of the Forfura Sharif Shrine, one of the most important Islamic pilgrimage sites in India, adds a unique religious and cultural dimension to the region. This demographic and geographic profile creates a unique political landscape where identity politics, welfare delivery, and local governance all intersect. Now let's examine the electoral history of Bangar from 2011 to 2021. For nearly 4 decades, Bangar was a stronghold of the Communist Party of India, Marxist or CPIM. In 2011, the CPIM candidate won with 42% of the vote. However, the 2016 election marked a turning point. The Trinamool Congress, which had swept to power in West Bengal in 2011, made significant inroads into Bangar. In 2016, the TMC candidate secured 39% of the vote, while the CPIM dropped to 32%. This represented the beginning of the end for communist dominance in the region. By 2021, the political landscape had transformed dramatically. The Indian Secular Front, a Muslim-majority party led by Abbas Siddiqui and connected to the Forfura Sharif Shrine network, fielded MD Nawzad Siddique as its candidate. In a stunning upset, Nawzad Siddique won with 42.3% of the vote, defeating the TMC candidate who received 34.5%. The BJP, meanwhile, secured 15.99%, up from just 8.6% in 2016. This 2021 result was historic. It marked the first time an independent Muslim-led party had won in Bangar, signaling a potential realignment of Muslim voters away from the TMC. However, the 2024 Lok Sabha results would complicate this narrative further. Let's dive deeper into the 2021 Assembly election results. MD Nawzad Siddique's victory was not merely a win, it was a political earthquake. With 42.3% of the vote, Nawzad secured approximately 187,000 votes, a margin of approximately 18,000 votes over the TMC's Rizal Karim. The ISF's breakthrough was driven by several factors. First, the party successfully consolidated the Muslim vote, which had been fragmented between the TMC and CPIM. Second, anti-incumbency against the TMC, which had been in power at the state level since 2011, played a significant role. Third, Nawzad's connection to the Forfura Sharif Shrine network provided him with a powerful religious legitimacy and organizational base. The TMC's 34.5% vote share represented a decline from their 2016 performance, indicating that some Muslim voters had shifted to the ISF. The BJP's 15.99% vote share, while still a minority, showed the party's growing appeal among Hindu voters, likely driven by polarization narratives. The 2021 results suggested that Muslim voters in Bangar were willing to experiment with an alternative to the TMC, particularly one rooted in religious identity and local networks. This victory gave the ISF a crucial foothold and raised questions about whether this was a one-time phenomenon or the beginning of a broader realignment. The 2024 Lok Sabha election results added a new layer of complexity to Bangar's political narrative. In the Jadavpur Lok Sabha constituency, which includes Bangar as one of its assembly segments, the Trinamool Congress made a significant comeback. The TMC's vote share in the Jadavpur segment increased substantially compared to 2021, suggesting a resurgence of TMC support. While the ISF did not field a candidate in the 2024 Lok Sabha election, the improved TMC performance in the region raised important questions. Did this represent a genuine shift in voter sentiment back toward the TMC, or was it a temporary fluctuation driven by Lok Sabha-specific dynamics? The 2024 results indicated that the political landscape in Bangar was more fluid than the 2021 assembly results had suggested. The TMC's organizational machinery, combined with its welfare schemes and state-level presence, appeared to be reasserting itself. However, the ISF's absence from the 2024 Lok Sabha race meant that we couldn't directly measure the party's support at the national level. These 2024 results set the stage for an intense 2026 assembly election, where the TMC would attempt to reclaim the seat, the ISF would seek to defend its breakthrough, and the BJP would continue to expand its footprint. The question now became, would the TMC's 2024 resurgence translate into a successful reclamation of the assembly seat in 2026? Let's examine the profile of the incumbent MLA, MD Nawzad Siddique. Nawzad is the chairman of the Indian Secular Front and holds a unique position in West Bengal politics. He is the great-grandson of the founder of Furfura Sharif, one of the most important Islamic pilgrimage sites in India. This lineage provides him with significant religious authority and organizational backing within the Muslim community. Since his election in 2021, Nawzad has served as the MLA of Bangar, representing the ISF in the State Assembly. His tenure has been marked by efforts to establish the ISF as a credible political force beyond its initial breakthrough. However, Nawzad faces significant challenges. First, his track record in local welfare delivery is limited compared to the TMC's extensive machinery. Second, the ISF, as a relatively new political force, lacks the statewide organizational structure that the TMC possesses. Third, Nawzad must prove that his 2021 victory was not merely a protest vote against the TMC but a genuine mandate for ISF governance. On the positive side, Nawzad's religious lineage and connection to Furfura Sharif provide him with a powerful base among Muslim voters. His 2021 victory demonstrated that voters were willing to support him, and he has the advantage of incumbency. His challenge in 2026 will be to consolidate his Muslim voter base while expanding his appeal beyond religious identity to include governance and welfare delivery. The ISF's success in retaining Bangar will largely depend on Nawzad's ability to demonstrate effective local governance over the next 2 years. Anti-incumbency is a crucial factor in Indian elections, and Bangar is no exception. The TMC, which has ruled West Bengal since 2011, faces significant anti-incumbency at the state level. This anti-incumbency stems from several sources. First, there are widespread corruption allegations against TMC leaders, including high-profile cases involving job scams and other irregularities. Second, law and order concerns, particularly related to women's safety, have damaged the TMC's credibility despite its welfare schemes. Third, there is growing concern about the special intensive revision of electoral rolls, which has created anxiety among Muslim voters about citizenship and documentation issues. These state-level anti-incumbency factors work in favor of the ISF and, to some extent, the BJP. The ISF can position itself as an alternative to TMC corruption and misgovernance. The BJP can capitalize on polarization narratives and anti-incumbency against the ruling party. However, the TMC also has powerful tools to counter anti-incumbency. Its extensive welfare schemes, particularly Lakshmir Bandar, which provides direct cash transfers to women, have created a constituency of beneficiaries who are reluctant to change the government. The TMC's organizational machinery is also formidable, and it has significant resources to campaign and mobilize voters. In Bangar specifically, the TMC's decision to replace its 2021 candidate with Shawkot Molla represents a strategic attempt to address anti-incumbency by presenting a fresh face. This move is part of a broader TMC strategy in which the party dropped 74 sitting MLAs ahead of the 2026 election. The interplay between state-level anti-incumbency and local factors will be crucial in determining the 2026 outcome. Three key state-level narratives will shape the 2026 contest in Bangar: women's welfare, law and order, and citizenship issues. Let's examine each. First, women's welfare. The TMC has invested heavily in welfare schemes targeting women, including Lakshmir Bandar, which provides monthly cash transfers to poor women, and Kanyashri, which provides scholarships to girls. These schemes have created a powerful constituency of women beneficiaries who are grateful to the TMC. The opposition, including the ISF, has struggled to match these welfare commitments, instead focusing on implementation gaps and corruption allegations. However, the TMC's credibility on women's welfare has been damaged by high-profile safety incidents, which has generated anti-incumbency pressure. Second, law and order. The TMC's governance record on law and order, particularly women's safety, has come under scrutiny. High-profile cases of violence against women have eroded the TMC's credibility on this issue, even as it touts its welfare schemes. The opposition has kept law and order failures central to its critique, attempting to erode voter trust in TMC governance. Third, citizenship and identity. The ongoing special intensive revision of electoral rolls has created significant anxiety among Muslim voters about citizenship and documentation. The TMC opposes the CAA and NRC at the national level but has implemented the SIR at the state level, creating confusion and anxiety. The ISF has positioned itself as a protector of Muslim interests against these citizenship anxieties, making this a key driver of ISF consolidation among Muslim voters. These three narratives will be central to the 2026 contest, and the outcome will depend on which resonates most powerfully with voters. Now let's examine the economic dimension of Bangar politics. The constituency's economy is primarily driven by agriculture and pisciculture. Agriculture, particularly rice cultivation, sugarcane, and vegetable farming, remains the cornerstone of local livelihoods in this deltaic region. Pisciculture, or fish farming, has emerged as an increasingly important livelihood activity, supplementing traditional agriculture and providing alternative income streams for rural households. However, the rural economy faces significant challenges. Youth unemployment is a critical issue driven by a limited industrial base. The lack of local employment opportunities forces significant youth migration to urban centers, creating social and economic disruption. Additionally, land acquisition conflicts have plagued the region. Most notably, the 2013 power grid project in Bangar Block 2 acquired 13 acres from farmers, creating tensions between development and livelihoods. These economic grievances translate into political demands. Voters prioritize employment generation and agricultural support. While the TMC's welfare schemes address immediate income needs through direct cash transfers, they do not resolve structural economic challenges like youth unemployment or agricultural productivity. The ISF's approach to these economic issues remains largely untested, creating a dynamic where economic grievances could sway the 2026 election. A candidate or party that can credibly address youth employment and agricultural support while maintaining welfare delivery could gain a significant advantage. The economic dimension of Bangar politics is often overlooked in favor of identity and welfare narratives, but it remains a crucial factor in voter decision-making. State-level narratives play a significant role in shaping local electoral dynamics, and Bangar is no exception. Let's examine how four key issues: women's welfare, women's safety, corruption, and citizenship will shape the 2026 contest. On women's welfare, the TMC promotes its flagship schemes like Lakshmir Bandar, Kanyashri, and Dwar Sarkar, which have created a strong base of beneficiaries. The opposition highlights implementation gaps rather than matching these benefits, putting them on the defensive. In Bangar, this translates into solid rural support for TMC welfare measures, particularly among women. On women's safety, the TMC's credibility has been hurt by high-profile safety incidents that have generated significant public concern. The opposition emphasizes these law and order failures to erode voter trust. In Bungar, this generates notable anti-incumbency pressure against the ruling party. On corruption, the TMC has faced serious allegations around job scams and arrests of party leaders. The opposition keeps corruption narratives central to its critique. In Bungar, this weakens TMC credibility and opens space for alternatives like the ISF. Finally, on citizenship and identity, the TMC opposes CAA and NRC at the national level, but the special intensive revision of electoral rolls has caused voter anxiety. The ISF positions itself as a protector of Muslim interests. In Bungar, with its 65.9% Muslim majority, this is a key driver for ISF consolidation. Together, these four state-level narratives create a complex environment where the TMC must simultaneously defend its welfare record, address governance failures, and counter identity-based mobilization by the ISF. The 2026 Assembly election in Bungar features a high-stakes three-way contest between three distinct candidates representing three different political visions. Let's examine each. First, the Indian Secular Front's MD Nawzad Siddique, the incumbent MLA. Nawzad is the sitting MLA and ISF chairman, with a strong religious political lineage as the great-grandson of Furfura Sharif's founder. His strategic strengths include strong appeal to the 65.9% Muslim majority, the ability to capitalize on anti-incumbency against TMC state governance, and positioning as the primary defender against citizenship anxieties related to the SIR and CAA. However, he faces key challenges: an unproven track record in local welfare delivery compared to TMC's machinery, and limited statewide organizational structure. Second, the Trinamool Congress's Shawkot Molla, a new challenger. Shawkot represents a strategic replacement for the 2021 candidate Rizal Karim, part of TMC's broader strategy of dropping 74 sitting MLAs. His strategic strengths include backing by TMC's formidable statewide organizational machinery, leverage of highly popular welfare schemes like Lakshmir Bandar and Kanyashree. However, he faces significant challenges: overcoming state-level anti-incumbency and corruption narratives, and confronting ISF's strong consolidation of the Muslim vote. Third, the Bharatiya Janata Party's Janta Gayan, a challenger. Janta represents the BJP's effort to establish a foothold in a challenging demographic landscape. His strategic strengths include consolidation of the Hindu vote, approximately 34% of the electorate, through polarization narratives, and upward momentum from the 15.99% vote share in 2021. However, he faces severe demographic constraints due to the 65.9% Muslim majority. The 2026 election will be decided by how these three candidates navigate the complex interplay of identity, welfare, economic grievances, and state-level narratives. Two major X factors will decide the 2026 election in Bungar: Muslim vote consolidation and women's welfare schemes. Let's examine each. First, the ISF X factor, Muslim consolidation. With a 65.9% Muslim majority, identity consolidation is the ISF's core strength. The ongoing special intensive revision of electoral rolls has created significant anxiety regarding citizenship and documentation among Muslim voters. The ISF positions itself as the uncompromising defender of Muslim interests, seeking to reclaim votes that previously went to the TMC or CPIM. If identity anxiety, driven by citizenship concerns, religious consolidation, and the desire for Muslim representation, overrides economic considerations, the ISF will have a strong chance of retaining the seat. Second, the TMC X factor, women's welfare. The TMC's welfare programs, particularly Lakshmir Bandar, deliver direct economic benefits to women through monthly cash transfers. Women voters often prioritize economic security over identity politics, enabling the TMC to cut across communal lines. If welfare dependency, driven by direct cash transfers, rural schemes, and the promise of continued economic support, outweighs identity politics, the TMC will have a strong chance of reclaiming the seat. The 2026 prediction framework hinges on this direct collision of forces. Will identity anxiety prove stronger than welfare dependency? Will Muslim voters prioritize religious representation and citizenship protection over economic benefits? Or will women voters, particularly those benefiting from Lakshmir Bandar, prioritize welfare continuity over identity politics? The answer to these questions will determine whether the ISF retains the seat or the TMC reclaims it. This is the central tension that will define the 2026 election in Bangar. In conclusion, Bangar is no longer just a constituency. It is the epicenter of a new political experiment in West Bengal. The 2026 election here will serve as a definitive indicator of the state's shifting political fault lines and the future of Muslim political assertion in South Bengal. Let's consider 3 key takeaways. First, the ISF experiment. The 2026 election will test whether a Muslim-led party can sustain its momentum, transition from identity politics to governance delivery, and withstand the formidable organizational machinery of the ruling TMC. If the ISF retains Bangar, it will signal that Muslim voters are willing to support an independent Muslim-led party and that identity politics can overcome the appeal of welfare schemes and state machinery. Second, TMC's defensive battle. Bangar represents a crucial test of TMC's ability to retain its core Muslim vote bank. The party's reliance on extensive welfare schemes and strategic candidate replacement will be weighed against local anti-incumbency and state-level controversies. If the TMC reclaims Bangar, it will demonstrate that welfare delivery and organizational machinery can overcome identity-based political mobilization. Third, the 2026 stakes. The outcome in Bangar will signal the broader trajectory of Muslim political alignment across South Bengal. A second ISF victory could catalyze further independent Muslim political assertion, potentially reshaping the political landscape of South Bengal. Conversely, a TMC reclamation would reaffirm the party's dominance over this critical demographic and suggest that welfare-based politics remains more powerful than identity-based mobilization. Bangar is a microcosm of larger forces reshaping Indian politics. The tension between identity and welfare, between new political experiments and established machinery, and between local governance and state-level narratives. Thank you for joining this analysis of the Bangar Assembly constituency.